Where are you still silencing yourself? A Priestess Wound reading for women ready to speak their truth. Have you ever found yourself staying quiet when you really wanted to speak? Holding back your ideas, your truth, not asking for what you really need, not sharing your gifts. This is one of the deepest expressions of the Priestess Wound. And for many women, silence became a survival strategy. Not because they had nothing to say, but because somewhere along the way they learned it wasn't safe to speak. So in today's reading, we're exploring where you may still be silencing yourself, why this pattern exists, and what your soul wants you to understand. And then the next steps forward to reclaiming your voice. Okay, so let's have a look and see what we need to know in order to help us to move forwards and understand why we are silencing ourselves. Okay, so we have plenty of cards here. So let's have a look at the first question, which is why are you silencing yourself? And we have Ascension. So your soul is letting you know that you are ready to ascend. You are ready for that next level version of yourself. But you are silencing this version of yourself. And part of you knows you are being called into something bigger. But you are playing smaller than your soul really desires. So you may be waiting until you feel ready, you feel qualified, you feel certain. Or you may be having trouble really expressing yourself, your needs, you know, what it is that you want as part of your ascension. The Priestess Wound often fears growth because growth brings visibility. And, you know, from the last few readings that we've done and activations that we've done, we know that there is a fear around visibility within the Priestess Wound. So your soul is letting you know that there is a difference between preparing and hiding. You are, or your soul is really ready for this next level version of yourself. And your soul is also asking you, what part of you are you afraid to become? And this is a question that you can journal on, right? What part of me am I afraid to become? Because you are blocking your ascension. Now, some of this may be subconscious blocks. Some of this are going to be other things that are holding yourself back. But this card is telling you that your soul is ready. It's also telling you that ascension is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more of who you truly are. So when we remove the blocks, the wounds, the patterns, the behaviors, and all of those things, it allows you to really connect back into who you are and who you came to be in this lifetime. So know that your soul is ready for this, and we'll have a look and see why you're having difficulty expressing yourself or why it doesn't feel safe to speak. And we have soul wounds. Now, soul wounds, there are many different types of soul wounds that we can hold on to. The witch wound, the priestess wound, the mother wound, father wound, brother wound, sister wound. Your silence is rooted in old wounds rather than present reality. So it's important that we look at what woundings we are holding on to so that we can understand where they came from and how they are affecting us. So there may be memories of rejection, criticism, abandonment, betrayal, using our gifts in a bad way, or that we've had our gifts taken away from us. There are so many different ways that we can hold on to this soul wound energy. And these experiences taught you that being fully yourself could lead to pain. Now, they would have served a purpose in past lives, but now, we're not in that energy anymore. And it's important to start to remove some of those things, right? Being able to speak, being able to express yourself in this lifetime is very difficult to what could happen if you expressed yourself in past lifetimes, right? You know, the witch wound comes to mind, the priestess wound, where she was silenced, she was betrayed, she had her gifts taken away. All those hurts and pains, they are still held in your energetic body, right? And your nervous system. And your nervous system remembers what the conscious mind has forgotten. Okay, so you may still be protecting yourself from experiences that are long gone. I think it's also important to say that the wound is not proof that there is something wrong with you. It's evidence of where healing is being invited, so that you can step into the full version of yourself, the version that your soul came here to be. So your soul is asking you to meet these wounds with compassion rather than judgment. Okay, now interestingly, we have the witch wound as what truth wants to be expressed. Now, with the witch wound, it is the fear of persecution. So the priestess wound is not feeling safe energetically. The witch wound is very much about that fear of persecution, being judged, being criticized, being tortured. So it is the physical energy of what your soul has experienced. So you may have had lifetimes where you were judged when you shared your gift, or you may have been persecuted in the time of the witch trials, right? You may fear being called strange, unrealistic, too spiritual, too different, which makes you hide in the broom closet, as it were, and not fully step out and express yourself and show the world your gifts and what you are here to do in this lifetime. The witch wound often causes women to hide their wisdom and their intuition through that fear of being persecuted, judged, criticized, or that feeling of not being able to fit in because you are different. So you may minimize your gifts to make others feel comfortable. You may seek permission before sharing what you already know. The truth is that your gifts were never meant to stay hidden, right? You are here in this lifetime for a reason. You have incarnated at this time for a reason, and you are here to help the planet. You're here to help evolution. You're here to help human beings, you know, and help with you know, the new earth and all of those different things, right? But all the time you are holding on to things like the witch wound and the priestess wound and other soul wounds that is stopping you from really fully expressing yourself. It is causing you to silence yourself and not share your gifts. Okay, so your soul is asking you to stop apologizing for who you are. That's really, really important. And the medicine is not to become less visible, it's to become more authentic, which we have seen with the Ascension card. So the next question is, what becomes possible when you reclaim your voice? And we have soul alignment. So soul alignment is very much about, you know, really stepping into alignment with your soul and what you are here to do. And when we do that, life begins to flow more naturally, right? You stop forcing yourself into spaces that don't fit, into relationships that don't fit with you, into partnerships, communities, all of those things that just don't fit with you, your energy, your purpose, and your mission. Decisions also become a lot easier because they come from truth rather than from fear. If we're in our authenticity and we're connected to our intuition, we trust that intuition, we trust ourselves, then we can make decisions that are in alignment, and that's really, really important. Your energy becomes clearer and more focused, so it no longer feels like you're you know, stepping through mud, you know, or stepping through clay, you know, trying to get to where it is that you want to be, right? So everything becomes a lot easier when you are in alignment. And opportunities will also align more easily when you are aligned with yourself. Manifestation, clients, being able to receive money, all of those different things. When you are in alignment, everything starts to flow. Money, relationships, opportunities, clients, all of the things, right? And the more in alignment you become, the more that you will trust your intuition, right? So, it is a cycle. Trust your intuition. And then the more that you trust it, the more deeply you're going to be able to trust it. And your gifts will become easier to share as well. So soul alignment is the reward for choosing authenticity over approval. When we're in these energies, right, we're seeking approval. We're not trusting our own intuition. We're afraid to speak. We're afraid to show up. We're afraid to be visible. Okay, so once we start to work and start to heal these, and the Priestess Wound, of course, as well, it becomes easier to become aligned. Okay, so the next card is, what is your next step this week? And we have energetic sovereignty. So this is all about being in our energy, being true to ourselves, having that clear energy. So one thing that we can stop doing is stop giving other people authority over our lives. Notice where you seek validation before trusting yourself. Become aware of whose opinions carry too much weight. So where are you giving other people your voice, right? And allowing other people to make decisions for you. Release the need to make everyone comfortable. Part of the spiritual journey is being an empath. And empaths have a tendency to want to fix everything for everybody else. They want to make people comfy. They want to, extend that help. But all that happens is that we burn ourselves out, right? And then we can't see what it is that we need for ourselves. So protect your energy, but don't close your heart, of course. So boundaries is going to be important here. Protecting your energy, clearing your chakras, clearing your energy system, clearing your nervous system. I am going to do a nervous system clearing via the vagus nerve to help this week, because that's going to be really, really important. It's important that you're keeping your energy clear, right? The more that we hold on to other people's wants, needs, desires, we don't have room for our own, and that weighs our energy down, and it makes it more difficult for us to connect to our intuition, to connect to our soul, to fully express ourselves, and to live our own purpose and mission. So you're also being asked to honour your truth even when others don't understand it or don't understand you. Trust your inner guidance before, outside voices, others try to guide you. And ask yourself daily, what would I choose if I fully trusted myself again? So your closing message really is your soul